We have Mr. Skin on today. Skin, how you doing?
Doing great. How are you guys doing?
Doing wonderful. Now, for the last week or so, I've been exchanging emails and texts with you concerning this TV show, White Lotus. And, boy, there's some nudity on this show on HBO, isn't there?
Yeah, and a couple cool things. First of all, it kind of reminds me, I think I mentioned it kind of reminds me a little about the modern day, like a Love Boat, because it's about like people going to this exotic location for different reasons, whether it's your honeymoon or to get away or whatever. And then they interact with all the workers, and then it's all about the lives of all the people that are at this tropical resort. So, but one of them was Alexandra Daddario, who her and her husband are there for their honeymoon. She was nude in the second episode, but kind of a cool story. Sydney Sweeney, who plays this privileged college student who's there with her friend.
Yes.
She hasn't been nude on the show, but a funny thing happened last week where I guess someone was trying to hack into her phone.
Yes.
And she put out a post on social media that said, "Who's ever trying to hack into all my stuff right now, please stop." By the way, HBO already leaked my nudes because she's on the show Euphoria and did some amazing topless scenes.
Yeah.
And she said, nothing for you to find. And then she, on her own, released some pics from her phone where she was topless just to kind of get ahead of it, which I thought was really, like, brave and wild. We never, at our site, post pics of
that are hacked
stuff, right? But she went and posted them herself, so it was kind of a cool thing, and she's ridiculously hot. So
yes, she is.
Yeah, it was kind of cool that she did that. So
right. So and that's the gal on this show on HBO as well.
White Lotus on
White
HBO.
Lotus.
A lot of people. It's like the big show people are talking about. And another show that people are really into is Ted Lasso.
Yes.
Which is it's from Amazon, and it's really a good show. With Jason Sudeikis, and it was based on a commercial he did, and he was on SNL, and he did this commercial like 7-8 years ago, and it just became a television show that was wildly popular in the first season. They just released the second season, and I wanted to point out a couple things. First of all, Juno Temple is on the show, and she plays Keely, and by the way, she's done some amazing nudity in her past, not on Ted Lasso, but great nude scenes, Killer Joe, Vinyl, a bunch of things. But one really interesting one is the woman that plays the owner of the team, who plays Rebecca, Hannah Waddingham. A lot of people have been asking about her because she's really hot, and she's older but very statuesque and beautiful. If she's ever been nude, and she never has, but she was in one of the most famous nude scenes of all time. In the last episode of Game of Thrones of season 5, where Lena Headey had to do the walk of shame through her kingdom, where she had to walk through all of her
her minions.
Her minions, right?
Yes.
Which was one of the most graphic scenes I've ever seen. The woman standing behind her, yelling "shame, shame,"
yes.
and wearing the hood, look like a nun. The tall, statuesque woman was Hannah Waddingham from Ted Lasso, which is kind of cool because that's a very popular show now. And to me, this is one of the great nude scenes. Even though it truly wasn't Lena Headey, they used a 24-year-old model to do the actual nudity, and then they pasted or they put
her head on.
It still blew people away.
Yeah.
This nude scene was one of the most crazy in the
shame. Shame.
Boy, I'm glad no one walks behind me with that, because I've done a lot of things I should be ashamed of in my life.
You and I both.
That'd be a long
walk. My God, could you imagine? That bell would be ringing in our head, right?
Exactly. I don't know, what's that bell for? Someone must be getting married. It's going on so much.
Yeah. Oh, my God, the things I've done. Yeah.
All right, and one more I want to touch on. Some kind of movie about Marilyn Monroe. I'm hearing rumblings about nudity on.
Yeah, well, there's this movie Blonde about the life of Marilyn Monroe that there was a lot of anticipation about it. And all of a sudden, Netflix put the brakes on the movie, and people were like, "What's going on?" Because Ana de Armas, this really hot Cuban actress, is going to play Marilyn Monroe. Well, I guess the Netflix was, quote, appalled and horrified because the film is a lot more gratuitous sex and nudity than Netflix intended. And I'm like, how stupid. I mean,
Yes.
all you have to do is leak out that it has all this gratuitous sex and nudity, and the movie's going to do fantastic. But this Andrew Dominic is the director, and that's how he wanted to shoot it. And now it looks like Netflix wants to recut and reshoot the movie, which with less sex. And it's like, if it's about Marilyn Monroe, shouldn't it, be allowed to have a lot of sex and nudity? So I'm kind of bummed about that, but we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll get a director's cut or something of that down the road. We'll see what happens.
Is this all a publicity stunt just to get more attention before it's released?
It totally could be, but I wish you don't want to publicly say that you're cutting out sex and nudity. You'd probably want to say that we were thinking it was so gratuitous we were going to cut it out, but we left it in would be a smarter way to do it.
Yeah. All right, Skin, always a treat talking to you.
You got it, guys. Take care.
All right, the great Mr. Skin at MrSkin.com.